Welcome back, everybody. Well, as you saw, got the GTO on the dyno, and we're gonna go ahead and dial in the wide open throttle NA tuning and maybe a little bit of part throttle. I've been driving this for a few weeks out on the street, getting everything kind of dialed in, and it's been doing really well, actually. So we're gonna go ahead and get some of that wide open and maybe a little bit of the part throttle on the load where we can, you know, dial in a few more cells on here. But let's go ahead and get this strapped down and get a baseline done, we'll go ahead and go over exactly what we got going on with this. There we go. Project DD105, my 2004 GTO. This is a 5.7 liter LS1, stock bottom end, which means that I have not taken the oil pan off or anything there. The rings are still, you know, gapped factory, everything's the same. But we have changed for the cylinder heads. They are factory 241 head, and they have a little bit of port work done to them. So we took care of some free flowing there. We do have a 231, 239 cam, and with our ratio rockers on there, we are 655 and 660 lift. On top of that, we have the fast. This is an original fast. Now, if you see, there is no 92 here. Okay, so this is an original fast, and the 92 clears just fine. So we have that on there with a 92 millimeter throttle body. We are running LS3 injectors, which we have rewired with our adapters. So that's a 42 pound an hour injector. We have a cold air intake on it, long tube headers. We do have a catch can set up. It is a, you guys have seen, it's a 4L60E with a 3000 stall converter. We have a one-piece drive shaft on it, custom exhaust, everything there. So I have been running with the timing like it is out on the street, and it's been okay. But I'm gonna pull maybe 2 degrees out of it just for the first hit, just to make sure it's safe. Okay, car strapped down. We're almost done setting it up in the computer for the dyno, but we're gonna go ahead and get that timing pulled out of here. So let's take a look. I use HP tuners for all of our GM, basically everything GM, unless it's got a unless it's got a Holly on it or something. But any of our factory ECU stuff is HP tuners. So this is your HP tuners, and up here you can see my mouse. Boop. We click engine, and that's gonna pull up all of our engine stuff. So then we can go up to spark, and then we have our 2 tables, our high octane and low octane. We're just gonna go ahead and just take 2 degrees out of everything there. The last time we put anything in there, we put it over the entire table. So go ahead, and we're just gonna pull 2 degrees out of it. We'll get this set up, and we'll make a pull. Cool. So let's take a look here. I've got we're gonna crunch some data on this. All right, guys. Kind of show you what I look at when I'm doing some of this tuning. Our first pull did 476 horsepower and 497 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, let's interrupt real quick and talk a little about correction factors. Now, SAE and standard corrected, or STD, are two of the most commonly used chassis dyno correction factors. On a chassis dyno, SAE and standard are a little bit different. The main differences on there is standard uses about a 60-degree ambient temperature for its corrections versus 75 degrees on SAE. Also, SAE has a built-in 15% frictional loss from drivetrain. So all of that being built in, everything that I have used for the standard corrections on the chassis dyno, when we put that into our calculators for drag racing, has been much more accurate for what it's actually going to run. So that's kind of why we use the standard corrected. Now, at the end of this, you will see the final numbers in both standard and SAE. And our AFR right there is at about 12.6. So let's go ahead and bring this up. Now, nice, fairly flat torque or air fuel. We started the pull around 27 to 2700, which is right up here. We were a little lean. I was just coming into power enrichment, 14.25, but by 3500 we were already into 12.96, and at 4000 RPM we are 12.5, so it's a little bit rich. We could probably pull a little bit out of there. 12.68, 12.83, so it's going a little bit lean up top here, so we could probably add just a tick right around here. But I mean, we're all in at 12.8 to 12.6. We're doing really good. And our torque curve, or our power curve, comes up very nicely right here, so you can see. And then we have a very flat torque curve. We have a little bit of a dip right here. If you can see, it's not very flat. It has a dip here and a dip up here in the torque. So we're gonna go ahead, take a look at a data log from the HP tuners and see if maybe there was a timing issue right there and we need to go correct that to kind of maybe bring that up and flatten it out. And then maybe we'll put a half a degree at it at a time and make some more pulls and see what happens here. Well, everybody, I just pulled a bonehead mistake right here. And I hit that spacebar button to wake the computer up, and then it tried to reconnect and it deleted the entire data log. She liked the timing. We also gave it a little bit of load. We looked at the acceleration and it was going a little bit quick on there. I'm gonna shut this fan off. So the acceleration was happening a little quick and I wanted it to just slow down a little. Around that 450 to 500 horsepower mark, we do have to start on some of the NA stuff. We'd have to put a little bit of load to it, you know, between 5 and 10%. So I put 5% to it, as well as put that half a degree of timing in there. And well, went 486, 532 foot-pounds of torque. So that was real good. Now I'll show you here. You see how there's a couple of graphs where it was a little short and everything happened here. What happened there was I forgot to lock the transmission in gear. I locked the converter. So let's start with up here. We have controls, so we can control a lot of different really cool stuff live on this when we're hooked up to it. What I do for a pull on, say, my GTO, or say a 04 or an 01 Trans Am or anything like that, we go into here and we'll go into the gear and we can command third gear and we can hold it. This also has a lock up torque converter. So I go right here and I lock up the torque converter just for the pull. And that gets rid of any slip as well. So if there's any, you know, slippage up top or anything, that's why the graph looks so nice and linear on there, because it's basically locked up like a stick car. So on HP tuners, you can set up your own data logger and how you want everything kind of set up on there. Very common to have on there our timing. So as we are wide open throttle right here, you can see the throttle come up and we are wide open. We can see what our timing is doing on this white line right there. Now what's really cool is if you look up here, as we drag this across, you see how it's kind of moving up there? That's telling us exactly where our timing is at. Boom, boom, as we're going across, here we go, here we go. Well, we've set it up where we have our RPM and our cylinder air mass to coincide. So as we're making a pull on there, and it lets everything know on here exactly where it's at, we can go in and go, okay, well, it was low on timing right here, we can go adjust that, or make a change here or there, and it's gonna tell us right where we were at specifically, so we know exactly where to change it, so we can dial everything in really good. Now, I'm seeing here on the screen at about 4,800, it started to dip down. We were coming up nice, and then it just kind of has a really sharp like that. So if we look in that 47 to 4,800 range, what happened on there? Oh, it pulled half a degree of timing out. It was up at 27 and it went down to 26.5. So it looks like after it's making its peak torque area right there, it wants a little bit more timing, which is fairly common. So I'm gonna go ahead, adjust it for after peak torque. We're gonna put in another half a degree of timing. We'll probably be done with this. That's the nice thing about doing this on the street a whole bunch, is we can get it close, but we'll go ahead. Let's do this one more time and see if we can't maybe crest that 490 number. I'd love to see that 490, but you know, if we don't get it, we don't get it. My whole goal is to hit 470, so we already surpassed that. So we're done. I'm taking it out for a spin here. So we were pretty close on the tune. Made a couple of adjustments just to where we were putting the timing. Air fuel, I actually for getting everything dialed in for the injector sizing and making everything correct on that, and then just kind of basing our fueling off of a little bit of the narrow bands, but also kind of what we want to command it for fuel. It was dead on. I didn't adjust the fuel at all, so that is super cool. So the final numbers for, one sec, I got them right here. I'm driving, I have to go get gas. I burnt all of it up, and my car is saying I have 36 miles until I'm empty. So I'm gonna go get some fresh 92. Numbers on it are 494, 529 foot-pounds of torque. But wait, I also have the SAE right here. SAE 477, 511. There you go. Whichever one you want to look at. I'm just very excited. I've always wanted a GTO. All right, since I was like 16 years old. I'm 33 right now, so it's been a very long time. I've wanted a GTO. I wanted an 04 on there because that's the year I got my driver's license. So, and that's when these first came out. So it was a cool thing for me. I wanted this. I have that. I spent a long time figuring out exactly what I wanted to do for power upgrades on this. I've built, you know, quite a few LS engines, and I like doing NA builds, and nitrous is just kind of my thing. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a comment below. Tell me, do you use standard corrected? Do you use SAE corrected? I'm curious on there. If you're also a dyno operator, tell me, why do you use standard and why do you use SAE? Okay? Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, guys, be safe.